Saturday. Happy Saturday. Do you want to highlight me, darling? Hello, hello, hello. Thanks so much for joining me today. Um, the reason I decided to do my card making in pastels is they are such a cool medium to work in. They really, really are. You can create designs totally on their own, but they are such a great mixed media tool. They are such a great accent in any kind of card making you're doing. If you use markers, they're stationary. Pastels can be stationary, but you can also blend them and get all these soft, whimsical effects with them, whether they're by themselves or on any other media. They work great with inks, with watercolors, with stamping, anything but oils, pastel pencils will apply to. So this is just totally created with it in a fun, whimsical way. But I also wanted to show you, the pencil tip allows you to do a lot of cool linear stuff, but you can also block the color in. This shows how easily they blend to get a soft background effect. Here's some more art real quick created with it, as well as a simple little single element. Okay, so now I chose purple for a few reasons. Your background color can make a difference in how much some of your other pastel colors show up or don't. We wanted all these little background ones to be much softer than our center of interest, our bold, detailed one. Purple was a fantastic color to use a soft pink, a soft gray, and a soft blue as background accents. I went ahead and did another one in black. Big difference. See the difference? And the pink and the gray, I fought to really have them show up on the black as easily as they did on the purple. So then I tried a soft blue, and you notice it gave a total different effect. I had a hard time with some of the colors showing up. So instead of drawing with the pencil, I took my BM2 Factis technical eraser, which I absolutely love. And instead, you can actually erase some of the soft first color that we applied down to create a negative object. Okay, so I'm going to do today's in purple again. And I'm going to show you how to work with the pastels both on and off the tip. Now, the reason I also had you get some of our chalk sticks is this white is going to be so much brighter than the white from the pencil. And that was another way to really pop that detailed center of interest one. So I'm going to take a sanding paddle. If you don't have a sanding paddle, you really can use an emery board. It just doesn't grate off the tip as easily. So I'm going to start out with my stick, and I'm going to grate some pigment in a few spots. Less is more. You can always come back and do more, okay? So let's just get a little bit on the paper in a few spots. And then I want you to take your cotton ball and you're going to press and spin. You want to make sure that some of the blue is still showing. And this is sort of, the sky lots of times has wisp of clouds here and there. Like I said, less is more. We're just going to do something like that. Blow off the excess. And then maybe just diffuse those shapes a little bit. I have a much lighter touch. If you decide that you just really want to watch me and not actually create this right off the bat, We have some excellent step-by-step instructions on the Michaels website for you to do this at another time if you would rather just observe at this point. Okay, so now I'm going to take a little bit more and grade it in just a few spots. I love pushing all of my supplies to see what else I can create with them. I'm going to take a soup spoon. A tablespoon also works really good. Now, when I lay it down, I'm not going to go like this. I'm going to lay it down stationary and rock it back and forth. Because what I want to do is I want to embed a few of those particles. Not necessarily going over all of them that I graded in each area, maybe just a few. Like my sound effects. So those are the ones that stuck, okay? And those are going to represent tiny, maybe little stars or the beginning of smaller snowflakes in my background, okay? Now, I decided that I wanted a frame around the design. That is why I told you to get a black 18 eraser. And this will effortlessly extract pigment, especially on dark papers. This was created to erase on black paper, toned papers, any paper that has colors or a pattern on it, because sometimes a white eraser will leave a ghost mark, a little bit of white all the way around. This will effortlessly extract. This also will erase 99% colored pencil, guys. So this is a handy one to have. So I'm going to lay it on the corner, and with pressure, I'm going to erase and create my outline. And I made it a little longer so I had something to grab onto as I was creating. Where this line is where you'll actually cut it off. And it will be the exact shape of the card that I use. Now, if your card is smaller, or your envelope for your card that you're going to be making is larger or smaller, then you would just adjust the size of your card that you're creating. What I did, and I like to take a very, very soft camel hair round, cheap little camel hair round brush. That's how I like to remove all my excess, because it won't smear or alter my design at all. Whereas if you use your hand, sometimes you can smear it and embed it. Okay. So you can see this was the card shape that I had. So I just cut it the size of my card. I'm going to be adhering this on the front of my card when all is said and done. All right, so that is step one. Step two, we can either create our main delicate center of interest snowflake, or we can do the background ones. It's totally up to you. If I were you, I would play around first. What I started doing before I came up with this design, I just started playing around, seeing what kind of design. Do I want fat elements? Do I want wispy? Do I want to just go with lines? And this is where I tried out all the different colors. And I even tried out erasing some of them, just to give myself an idea where I wanted to go with all this. Okay. Here's some other ones. It's super easy to create a snowflake. First, you're going to make a line, you're going to make a cross. And then in the sections between it, you're going to do another one going this way and another one this way. Some of them I just used one color. Some of them I said, oh, I wonder if I combine several. There's a little pink, a little blue, a little white in this one. Some of these I had more dots in them. I always just start playing around before I do something, deciding if I really wanted to have some kind of a design in the middle. I felt this one overpowered the actual extensions. So that's when I adjusted it and made the center less busy and smaller. So I always love to just play around. If you guys have questions, throw them in the chat. Now, the next thing I did, first I created my frame. Now I'm going to take my pen eraser, and can you see how I just did a few little whimsical lines here and there to add to it? Okay. So I can just, and I'm not pressing super hard. When you press real hard, it's going to extract even more pigment coming out. Okay. We just want a few little lines in there. So now we're going to switch over to our pencils, and I'll create just a few of those background snowflakes, the ones that are not as noticeable, but they're still there. This is the sharpener that I had you guys get, because a lot of people don't want to have to deal with all the little shavings. This little guy is the exact same thing, but you have to have a shaving container. And then we also have the option of our 3-in-1, which has 3 different size holes. So I'm going to just, you want to make sure you have a sharp tip. You want to totally insert it all the way in so you get a nice sharp point. You see how fast that sharpened it? Because there's a stainless steel blade in this sharpener. And the angle of the blade purposely was made to work with the soft core pencil like our pastels and give you that nice sharp tip. Some of your snowflakes, you're going to want the whole flake noticeable, but it is kind of cool sometimes to only have part of one showing too. And you want them all different sizes and shapes. So I'm going to start one right here. Okay. And I'm not going to make this one as fancy. The reason I put the extensions out right away is then I know how much room I have coming for the rest of it, because I might want to change that shape, which I'm going to start these a little further out so it's not crowded. Okay. Voila. It's much softer in the background. Now maybe this one I'll bring down here, and only part of it. See how I stopped that line right there? You're only going to see part of this one. And I don't even think I'm going to put those 2 additional lines in that one. Okay. So I like to go in odd numbers. So I'll do one over here as well. And feel free to change up the design of the extensions, guys. You can do whatever you want. There's no right or wrong in art. It's your creative soul playing. That'll probably be the last line I do without resharpening, because I want these lines very, very soft. Okay. Maybe I'll put a little dot in the center. And you don't really have to switch up. If you wanted to do all of them pink or all of them white or all of them light gray, it's totally up to you. And it also depends on the background color that you have decided to use. So I'm going to do part of one coming off here. This is my light gray. Okay, make that one tiny. Probably not going to put a dot on that one yet. When in doubt, don't. You can always come back and add more embellishments, okay? Make this one bigger, maybe. Excuse me. This one I'm adding 3 lines because he's a little larger. And you can even make them much, much more detailed. And I probably won't put all of them in right away. I'm going to wait until after I get my really large one in, because that will determine if I can make these more detailed or if I should just keep them nice and subtle. Most of the time, I wait I'll put one up here. I wait to do these until after I've created the big one, because that is going to give me a better idea of how much detail I want to put on them. Do you see how easy these pastel pencils are to work with? I pull mine out all the time. All right, I am going to switch over and start creating my large one right now. Make sure I've got this sharp tip again. Now, do's and don'ts, tips and tricks. Let's say you wish you had more of your purple showing. You really could turn around and just take this eraser and in a few spots lightly tap, tap. You could also do it with a kneaded eraser. But that's why I always say less is more. And I never start adjusting until after I get some of my first elements in, because each additional thing that you're going to lay down in here is going to change the whole look of this, okay? But I'm pretty happy. I still have a lot of purple showing in areas, okay? So your large one, it really takes up almost a little, about 3/4 of your paper, okay? So I'm going to start, glad I double checked. The best way to start is not going this way first. Go this way first, okay? Because this will give you an idea of 3/4 of it, okay? And you're going to go right in the middle on both, okay? Then we're going to come in here, and here, here, and here. I have found if you start here thinking it, sometimes you don't hit that section, that cross section in the middle perfectly, okay? Now, if you have a heavier touch, you might have lost that fine tip. So you just barely go back in. And we're going to, again, if you're going to be doing this later, I gave you guys this great little cheat sheet. This is step 1 in black. Step 2 is in red. Step 3 is in blue, okay? Step 4 is where you start bringing the larger sections out. Step 5 is first developing everything that's coming off of them, and next, the last step is filling everything in, okay? So step 1, start small. It's sort of like a spider web. Give a little bit of a curve all the way around. Okay. I'm gonna sharpen that tip again because I really want these lines delicate. Okay. Now I'm gonna put a little roof above it, above the line. See how I did that? And then I'm gonna bring it down and meet it. Gonna, and it's sometimes it's easier to spin your work. Okay. Little roof coming down. Snowflakes are so fun to create because no two are alike. You can do whatever you want. There's no right or wrong. So that's step 2 for you now, okay? Now you're going to take your pen eraser. Now, I really want it in a chisel shape right now, not totally round. So here's a little trick, okay? Oh, I got it too far, so I got to push it back in and bring it back just a little. I'm going to put my finger over one side of it, and the opposite side, I'm going to erase, okay? And then I'm going to put my finger over that side and do a little erasing. I have now created this thin, can you see that thin shape? You also could take scissors, but it's so easy just to hold your hand over one side and then flip it to get this great little shape. So now what we want to do is erase the line just in the middle of each one of them. Okay. Are you guys enjoying this? I can't see the chat at all. There you go. Now, these are a little longer than these. If you are a perfectionist, you really could erase that and redo it. But I'm not worried about it because it's so intricate, you're not going to notice that. Okay. Now I'm going to sharpen again. And then I'm going to connect these. I'm going to put a roof over those two sections. Can you see that? This section and this section need a little roof. And then I fill that area totally in. Connect these two with a little roof. Connect these two sections with a little roof. And there is the center of your snowflake. Oh, one more. Now we're going to go to this step right here. We're going to start adding our extensions. I'm going to turn around, get some nice crisp lines again. And I'm going to start it about here. And I'm going to go about here, making them a little larger as I make my way up. Okay. Here, here, and about here. Notice I like to spin my work. And if you didn't bring it out far enough, no big deal. You just add an extension then. I always say less is more. You can, it's easier to add than to subtract. See, that one's going off. Some of these are actually going a little bit over some of these snowflakes. That's another reason why I like to do my large one first. Okay. Boom. See how easy it is so far? Now, what I'm going to be doing is they almost look like little triangles at first. When we fill them in the last stage, they start looking less like triangles. It's more like all those little particles joining together. Okay, so I'm going to go 1, 2, 1, 2. I use the line as the center of the triangle where the edges meet. And remember, we're not looking for precise, okay? We're just looking for a general shape, okay? Then at the top, you're going to do a triangle, and then you're going to put a triangle on top of it. See how I did that? Do that again on this one. I do 2 on the bottom, and I do 3 on both of these, okay? Kana, do we have any questions or any comments?
I think it's good. We have Ashley that's replying to the comments directly.
No questions?
Nope. Oh, we have Linda actually just right now asking how the background was done.
Did she not come from was she late coming in?
Yes, she was.
Okay. I'll show you at the very end again how I did that background for starters. That's what I had you guys get a sanding paddle and a charcoal stick, and I was grading that pigment. I'll show you again how I did that. Is everybody finding this fun? Did they like any of the techniques I've shown them thus far?
Yes, they do. We have some replies in the comments.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Pretty repetitious. Once you get it down, pat. I'm too sharpened. Getting a little. The lines are starting to get a little thicker on me. I wish I could see the chat. Oh, I can. Can you make the snowflakes different colors? Yes, you can. It takes my anxiety away too. I actually pulled up the chat so I can start seeing a few of them. Yes, if you noticed in some of the first examples that I was showing you, is I was making them different colors, adding to them in the background ones, but you also could do this in the center. You can add color or you can subtract, guys. In this one right here, do you see? It looks like I added bright blue. But what I really did was when I just erased out those areas, because all of this has a little bit of blue plus white, except over here. See how this area didn't have any of the graded color? And it is a much brighter blue. I could turn around and do partial extractions too. I could have added more lines just by taking that pen style eraser and erasing some areas. See how that totally changed the look of it? You asked if it was pastel paper. I actually did not use pastel paper. because not everyone has pastel paper. I like to make sure that any of these fun little projects that I share with you, you could use on any kind of colored paper. Okay. So see how this is totally changing the look of it? Looks like I added color, but I also could have actually added color too. See that the possibilities are endless. That's what I love so much about working with these pencils. Okay. So then I could have made some of my smaller ones the pink too. I don't know if that's really showing up that great for you with
We
my
also have
line.
Ranch asking if you can use construction paper.
Yes. Yes, you can. I listed the paper as 8.5 by 11 because if you didn't have an actual card that you could adhere your wrong one, that's the partial I'm doing. Your project to, you could actually make your own card by having this large 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, by folding it in half and then cutting off the excess that's past it. That's why I said the 8.5 by 11. And another reason, that's the main size that papers do come in. Okay. So let me get back to this little guy with the white.
Would green paper work, Kathy?
You know, I would, green works great, red works great, purple and black, um, teals even, almost any. I just went with the purple because I don't know, it was different and I still felt that it fell in with the line of a lot of colors that we see for ornaments, garlands, everything that the stores have readily available. But if look, if you're anything like me, I keep a lot of my past Christmas cards. If nothing else, not to duplicate the actual design, but to see the color combinations that people used or some of the background symbolism that they used and stuff. They are such a cool reference for stuff that you want to do down the road. I never throw anything out.
He's asking if you ever tried using watercolor pencils and activate the colors with water after drawing the snowflakes. She's just curious about your results.
Yes, watercolor pens. I'm so glad someone said that. I will do a lot of designs with watercolor pencils. In fact, I just happen to have what I did last year for you guys. Although one of my little toppers fell off. So this was done with the watercolor pencils. This was pastel in the background, and these darker areas are pastel accents on them. So I use my watercolor pencils a lot. Yes, you can do your snowflakes with your watercolor pencils too, adding the pastel over them or watercolor or pastel for the background. Like I said, that's one of the things I absolutely love about working with these pastel pencils is you can use them alone like I'm trying to show you today or as accents or additional color on top of markers or inks or watercolor, not so much with your acrylics. Okay. The supply list is listed right on the 12 Days of Christmas link. Underneath them is not only the supply list, but also I actually gave you that visual of the step-by-step how to create this particular one, as well as written directions. Am I going to be doing any more classes? That's up to Michael's. That's up to Michael's. They reach out to us. I teach a lot of independent classes on my own as well. And we have a lot of cool stuff on the General Pencil website. When you turn the card, the colors really show up. I'm trying
Yes,
to.
I will put again the links. I put them earlier, but they probably went up, so you guys can check out also Kathy's website and Facebook page as well.
As generals too. Um, Notice someone asked a sharpener question. Two things make a good sharpener: the type of the blade and the angle of the blade. We have a stainless steel German blade sharpener, as well as ours are angled to give you that perfect little point. If you put yours in the sharpener and it keeps breaking, you haven't totally seated it. You want it all the way in, and then you can just barely do that. Look at this gorgeous tip you're going to get off of it. Okay. All right. I could start filling my little squares in now with the pastel pencil, but I want to switch back over to the stick. Remember how I said the stick is a brighter white? We really want this to pop. So, you know, the edge, it's really hard to fill in. So what I like to do is I sharpen one end. I stick it in my sharpener. And I sharpen it. Look at how bright this white is. And now I have made it in the shape of a pencil tip. The pigment lays off thicker off of the stick than the pastel pencil. Why do you think so? It is because pastel is a very, very, very soft pigment, and the paper can only absorb so much pigment. So pastel pencils lay it off thin so you can apply several layers or colors or values of it on the same piece of paper. Now, I'm only going to do one for starters. I might add to it. I might change the shape of it. I might bring this one up higher. I want to make sure first that I have enough room to add all these additional lines that were in purple. Okay. So I'm going to bring it up and make my two little antennas. Bring this one up and make my two antennas. See how much brighter that is than this line right here? And you're going to bring one up down here too. See how that fills it all in? So once I like it, I know I got the effect I'm looking for, I'm going to start filling some of the other ones in. And I also want to take a peek at a few more of these. All right. The wood in my pencils always get caught in the blade. Kathy, are you using our pencils and our sharpeners? Because if you are using a different sharpener, it might not be angled correctly. If you're using a different pencil, they might use a different wood. We use cedar wood in all of our pencils. It's because it's strong. It supports and protects our cores better. Also, all of our pencils, we glue our wood from tip to tip for strength. A lot of other companies only spot glue their pencils. You might be catching it in a wood area that's between two spots that's not totally adhered down on the pencil. There could be so many reasons why you are having problems. If it, by some great chance, is our pencil and our sharpener, it means you're not seating it all the way. All right. Da, 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 da. Okay, for some of you that were saying, how did I draw the lines? again, I have that step-by-step visual for you guys, okay? Step-by-step visual. But like I showed you previously, try all different kinds of designs on scrap paper. See what kind of falls in place for you. The only thing you really have to remember is, make your cross line first. That's a really good one for you to see visually how much space you want to take up. And then bring it up from there, always from that line. Because if I freehand this, do you see how that didn't totally meet? Or freehand that? See how they don't meet? If you always start out from the center, you're going to have that perfect line if you're going to choose to then further go out. See how that one didn't line up? It changes the whole look of something. So go across and then center up, center down, center up, center down. And that's how you will get it totally even. Okay. We have 15 minutes more. Have you guys been enjoying this, I hope? Or a bunch of you are going to go out and get some of these pencils? You won't regret it. I'm from New Jersey. Did you know our factory where we hand make all of our pencils is in Jersey City, New Jersey? All right, I'm looking to see if there's anything new. Yes, we really hope that you check out the General Pencil website, my website. We both have things on YouTube. We're hopefully going to be doing more Michael classes. Reach out to us through my website. Leave a message if you would like to be on a list to know when we're going to do some more classes for Michaels and stuff. We'll keep you abreast. Coming up to the holiday season, this was a perfect time for a card making class for any of you that want to send out homemade cards. Okay, now those are done. Gonna sharpen this tip. You don't have to sharpen it as much as I am if you end up having your lines thicker. There's no right or wrong. And once I get these in, I might adjust
Linda
how
wants
thick
to
these are.
know if you use a fixed spray because there's a lot of pastel dust.
I was going to save that for about 5 minutes from now. That's an excellent, excellent question. As I was saying, once I get these all filled in, if I think there's too much open space between all of them, I didn't do it with this, I kept them small. But let's say I feel like I have too much open space still. All of these that you have made, you can just make thicker. See how I'm making this one thicker? But you really don't want to start making them thicker until you have completed all of these and gotten all of these little lines in too. It's better to have it a little sparser than too crowded. It will make your snowflake look more delicate, if that makes sense. So I'm going to finish real quick getting the lines in so I can show you. You actually have two ways of sealing. You can use Krylon spray fixative. Again, this is in your directions. Okay. Or what you can do is good old-fashioned tissue paper from the gift shop. One side, or the dollar store, gift shop, it's what they wrap your presents in. you're going to find with a lot of tissue paper now, one side is smooth and the other side is dull and absorbent. You want the dull absorbent side down, okay? You're going to lay it over your work. You're going to take that metal spoon and you're going to rub and rub and rub and rub and rub. What this is doing, it's called burnishing. It is pushing the pastel pigment into the paper. The only thing a smear is, I'll do it over here too, where we're one of those right there. A smear, paper can only absorb so much pigment. Once it reaches its maximum, a smear is only the remaining pigment left on top of the paper. It has absorbed it. See, it's not going to smear now. It is not smearing at all. So when you get the entire thing done, you lay that over. If once you've done it, go to a small area and see. See, that's not smearing now. Okay. But if yours were to smear, you could use a spray fixative. I started burnishing a lot of my work for two reasons. Lots of times when I'm teaching somewhere, they don't allow sprays or aerosols of any type in the classrooms. Second reason I started doing it, some people love working in this medium, but they're allergic to aerosols. So one day I was like, well, what did Michelangelo do? They didn't have spray fixatives back then. And that's when it dawned on me, well, I could burnish everything. That's what they did in the past. So that's the second reason that I burnish a lot. The third reason is, especially you'll find when, let's say you decided to do your card using really warm colors like reds and yellows. When you put spray fixative on them, those colors just instantly dull on you for some reason. So, you don't want to spend all that time creating all this beautiful work and then the colors go limpy on you. So that's the reason that I do this. Do you see how this is coming together and looking real pretty? We have about 10 more minutes. Are there any other questions? There really is not a lot of dust. Yes, using the eraser for negative space. Oh, that could be a whole nother class. Like I said, I really wanted to show you how versatile the sticks are and also how effortlessly you can combine them with the actual pastel pencils. Just by, remember, I sharpened one end of the tip, or you could actually have laid it down and lightly rubbed, and you would have gotten a light coating of the pastel stick all over your paper. But again, I showed you the finish one. I played around with several different things, figuring out which would be the best route to go. And I really
Yeah,
liked that some of that black or purple was still showing amongst all the little snowflakes in the background. Kana,
we
what were
have
you
a
going to
few
say?
questions.
Sure.
Yeah, sorry I interrupted you.
No, no, no.
Do you burnish each color as you finish it?
I wait till the very end to burnish because let's say once I had it done, I was like, oh, I wish I had less color in this area or this area. You literally can erase an entire area and then just start the process all over from grading the background to adding the background, soft, diffused snowflakes, to even reworking an area of your center of interest right here. Okay. So I wait till the very end because if I have burnished it, I have embedded that pigment into the paper and removed that option of adjusting. Okay. Oh, I think we're going to get all these done. And then I'm going to show you the background once more. Does anyone else want to see any previous step done? Yes, no, maybe so. Well, I want to thank you all so much for coming. Hopefully, do you think you'll be able to incorporate your pastels not only into creating this design, but some of the other stuff you do? Yes, no, maybe so.
Now we don't have anything coming up. We do have Linda that asked if you recommend a brand of pastels.
I right on the one on my supply list. I absolutely love working with the General's pastel pencils because they are an artist grade pigment that is cost effective. Many other artist grade ones cost a lot more money. They come in tins. That's part of the reason you never see any stuff in tins, is we put the money into the product, not the packaging, so we can make it cost effective for anyone to be able to work with a fine art product, because fine art pastel pencils as well as sticks are this much pigment and this much filler, just enough to create the core. A lot of the student grade ones that are don't cost that much are this much filler and only this much pigment, and that's why you don't have the success that you have with this. All right, I'm trying to look at, so my brand of pastels are the ones on the list: General's Multi-Pastel pastel chalk pencils. The reason we have the word chalk on ours is there are oil pastels and there's dry pastels. Chalk means a dry pastel pigment. Okay. Do you guys been enjoying this?
Was it? Everybody's really happy. We have
Excellent.
Susan telling
All
me
right.
she enjoyed the class.
Thank you so much, everybody. So now you can see I have a few more areas that I could do one of two things. I could put like way in this corner right here. Down here, I think I want to rock a little more color. Let's have some of those small ones popping up here. Then I'm going to look, and I think I want to put another small snowflake down in this area right here. See how you just get a little more fill in a few spots? So for the person who wanted to see how I did that background one more time, grab another piece of paper. But I'm going to reiterate one more time. Once it's done, if you do not have an actual card to adhere it to, you can take any sheet of large paper, fold it in half, and then adhere it or set it on top of it first. And you're going to see all the excess? Take your pastel pencil, cut out the shape of it so that it's the same shape. And then you can take double stick tape, you can take little glue tabs, or you can even take a glue stick, put all the glue down, put this over it. And even when you are pressing it down, take your tissue paper to really press it down, because sometimes our fingers have a little bit of body oil on it and it could transfer to it, and we don't want that to happen. Second thing you could do is you could actually, once it's cut down to the shape, even put a second piece of paper inside of it and maybe make this slightly smaller so you have a little bit of a frame around it. And on this inside paper, you could use a stamp and stamp a holiday thing, or you can handwrite your cards, but you could also do pastel accents on the inside of it as well. All right, so voila, we have this one done. It looks slightly different than this one. This one is a little larger than this one, but you basically have the exact same design, just different proportions. So for the first person, I took my stick and in a few spots, don't do it everywhere because we want some of the dark paper to show through. And then I took a cotton ball, kind of pressed hard at first. Pressing hard is going to embed it a little more. But I didn't press hard on all of it because I wanted to be able to smear it out a little more. Then I flipped my cotton ball over and I kind of dibby dabbed. See how I did that? Kind of dibby dabbed. Because I want to keep, and you don't necessarily have to do all of it. Now this black really stands out more. So let me get rid of that extra if I don't want more. And then kind of loosen the edges of that shape a little bit. Pull it out a little more in areas. So you have some of that black still showing. And then remember, I graded a little bit in just a few spots. And this is where I laid my spoon down stationary and rocked back and forth because I don't want to smear it. I want to embed it. And those whites are brighter in a few areas. Okay. Wow, we have 1 minute. Any last questions? I want to thank you all so much for joining us. Like I said, remember generalpencil.com. Our Instagram is at generalpencil. They have postings from all artists, all walks of life. It's really, really a fun page to follow. If you go to the www.generalpencil.com, we got some great videos of even, product being made in the factory, and some like Modern Marvels went and visited us. I have a lot of YouTube videos under Kathy Hansen, or just say watercolor or pencil art, they'll pop up. There's I'm amazed how many are out there. Kathy's Creative Studio is my Facebook, where I like to share lots of stuff like this as well. My Instagram is at Kathy_Hansen. Or my website as well, kathyhansenart.com. And it's Kathy with an I. And I hope you all have a wonderful Thanksgiving and memorable holiday season. We hope to see you again in the future, guys. Any last questions? Otherwise, we're gonna skip out and let you guys enjoy your Saturday. Thanks for sticking around, guys.